Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, I'm going to describe the vaccine development process. I have made several videos on the vaccine development and the process which involves the development process. In this specific video, I'm going to focus on the clinical trials because there is a lot of discussion these days about the clinical trials. So I would like to describe in brief that what are these clinical trials and what are different clinical trials like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and combined phases, and what are preclinical trials. So this is part of our community education awareness program under National Academy of Young Scientists. And now I'm going to describe about these stages that I have mentioned. The first is the preclinical testing. Preclinical testing is the stage for vaccine development in which we focus on the animals. So this is the animal studies in which we introduce the vaccine to animals like mice, monkey, and several other animals, and we see whether the vaccine that we are going to introduce that give an immune response. There is a antibodies are produced in the animals or not. So preclinical testing is the one that is done on the animals, and if there is a response from the vaccine, then we go towards the human trials. In this case, we also check the safety, whether our vaccine is giving any harmful impact on the animal or not. So the two or three things are mainly the focus of this preclinical testing. One is the dose, the other thing is whether it's giving the immune response, and the third thing is the safety. So in preclinical testing, we check these kind of responses. Then we go towards the phase 1 clinical trials. They are also called the safety trials. In this case, the vaccine is actually introduced to a small number of people. In this case, the number is kept very small, especially this is done to age group that is mainly the young people and in a small number. And in this case, the focus is to check the safety. So in this case, we check whether the vaccine that we are going to introduce is safe for the people. It don't give any harmful impact. Another thing is we check the dosage, that what dosage we should give, and whether the dose that we are going to give is giving the immune response to the person or not. So the phase 1 clinical trial, they are focused on the safety. They are called the safety trials. In phase 2 trial, they are also called the expanded trials. This is the trial in which initially I mentioned that in phase 1 is mainly focused on a small number, and in phase 2 the number is increased. It goes to hundreds of people, and they are split in different age groups. For example, as I mentioned that in phase 1 we focus only towards the adult people, but in this case we also go towards the children, we also go towards the old people. So we can see whether our vaccine is giving an immune response in the children and also in the old people, because the response, the immune system is weaker in this age group, and our vaccine should improve or should give the immune response in this case. So these are the expanded trials in which we pick different age groups and we see whether our vaccine is giving any immune response in all the age groups that we are going to study. So this is the expanded one of the phase 1 trial, which is a small number. And in this case, we expand the number as well as we expand the age group. So that is called the phase 2 clinical testing or phase 2 clinical trial. Then we go towards the phase 3. That is mainly focused on the efficacy trials, whether the drug or whether the vaccine that we are going to use is effective or not, is giving the immune response to the wider group or not. So in this case, we go, initially I mentioned that in phase 1, it's a very small number. It could be 5 to 10 people. When we go towards phase 2, then we can go to hundreds of people. And in phase 3 trial, we go towards thousands of people. For example, the vaccine that are being tested for coronavirus, in phase 3, they are recruiting 10,000 people or 20,000 people or 30,000 people. For example, one of the vaccine group that is being investigation in United States is Moderna. So in Moderna, which is mainly focused on messenger RNA based vaccine, they are recruiting 30,000 people for their phase 3 clinical trial. So in this case, we pick a huge number, a bigger number, and then we see whether it's safe and is effective in this trial. So we check the safety, we check the efficacy, and we check to a broader number of people. So that's called the phase 3 clinical trial or the efficacy trials. And in some cases, there are combined phases. So, for example, if we have to go towards a vaccine production under some emergency situation, just like the situation in coronavirus, in this case, there could be accelerated vaccine development process in which we can combine the phases. For example, the vaccine that is being developed by the Oxford University, that is called AZT1222. That is vaccine. They have combined the phase 1 and phase 2. So they have picked hundreds of people and they started the trials after the success in animal trials. So they tested on animals, it was safe, effective, and then they recruited a good number of people to accelerate the development process. So in that case, we combine the phases, and then after these phases there's approval. So in each country they check the results, and then they decide whether we should approve the drug or approve the vaccine or not. So in this case, they check all the trials, their protocol, their results, the method of testing and everything. They are tested by the regulatory authority, and if they are satisfied, then they approve it or they reject it if they are not satisfied. But in some cases, during the pandemic, for example, the vaccine may receive emergency use authorization. For example, in case of coronavirus, now some vaccine may get emergency use authorization on the frontline workers before they are getting the formal approval. So in this case, the approval process start earlier. For example, if the vaccine, for example, the vaccine by Moderna in US, if it is in the phase 3 and till phase 2 is effective, then it can be receive emergency use authorization on the frontline workers, and they can use it until it's get the formal approval by FDA. So this is the whole process of vaccine development. Now I'm going to give the update till 15 June 2020. What is the coronavirus vaccines? So in this case, uh, around 125 vaccines, more than 100 vaccines, they are in the preclinical testing, in the animal testing studies. There are 8 vaccines in phase 1. There are 8 vaccines, they are in phase 2. And there are 2 vaccines which are in phase 3. So they are in the process. Yet there is no vaccine approved, but it's according to the tests being done and the trials being run, it is estimated that the approval will be maybe in the August or in September, and then the vaccine will reach the market. So this is the current update about the coronavirus vaccine. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is part of, as I mentioned in the start, in the Community Education Awareness Program of National Academy of Young Scientists and Research and Innovation Club, which is a newly formed body under National Academy of Young Scientists to promote research and innovation in Pakistan. My email address is given, my contact number. This is the WhatsApp number, so you can contact me through WhatsApp. And if you have any question, then I'll be happy to answer. So this video was to give a brief overview about the clinical phases. What are the clinical phases in which the vaccine, like there is a discussion that the vaccine is in phase 2 or in phase 2. So many people, they don't understand what mean by phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3. So this was to give an overview that what are different phases and what is the approval process and how its approval is being done, and then the distribution happens in the world. Thank you very much once again for watching this.